Hello, fight fans. We are back, and you know that means it is time for another TWSN UFC preview show. This weekend, we have UFC 282, headlined by a new title bout in Magomed Ankalaev and Jan Blachowicz for the now vacant from the real champion, the only champion that we recognize here at TWSN. These boys are fighting for this man's belt. Well, he gets his shoulder fixed up a little bit. UFC 282 this Saturday. Evan, let's get right into it.
All right. I mean, we got a banger to start off the main card. Two undefeated fighters. We got 15-0 Bryce Mitchell versus 12-0 Ilia Topuria. This was supposed to be a fight night main event. I'm a little surprised this is all the way down at the first fight of the main card. This to me is the second best fight on the card behind the vacant light heavyweight title match. And I'm going to take the slight underdog in this. I'm going to go with Thug Nasty Bryce Mitchell. I know he's been out for a little while, but I was honestly, Topuria is a much better striker than Mitchell, and I think that's pretty clear. But I was surprised by how much I was impressed by Mitchell's striking performances recently. And I do think that Mitchell's ground game is far superior to Topuria's. I know Topuria can put up a fight, but I do think that Mitchell's grappling is going to be superior to Topuria's. I believe that Mitchell has the weapons to kind of stay in the mix with Topuria, maybe not win. He's not going to win a striking fight. He's going to have to get the fight to the ground, but I think he's going to have enough to keep Topuria engaged on the feet and not just fighting defensively against a takedown. And then he'll be able to get the fight to the ground and either win the fight due to control time, or he might even lock in those crazy submissions he knows how to do. But I'd love to hear how you feel on this.
Yeah, honestly, I mean, you covered everything I was going to say. The notes I had written down were very similar. I say Topuria on the feet, Bryce on the ground, both undefeated originally to go over 5 rounds. I'm just taking Topuria in this one. Kind of like how you said, for two extremely well-rounded fighters, this really does kind of boil down to the striker versus the grappler. As good as Topuria can be on the ground, Bryce is far better. And as good as Bryce looked on the feet with a guy like Edson Barboza, I think a younger, faster Ilia Topuria is going to give him more problems. The big thing from a technical standpoint that I note on this fight is the only place I didn't like, the only thing I didn't like from Bryce in that fight against Edson Barboza. And again, he really impressed me. But there were times where he pushes the pace so hard, he'd kind of be, it's specifically towards the end of the first round, if you go back and watch the fight. But specifically at the end of that first round, he's panting and Barboza hits him with 2 clean hooks to the body. And I mean, it really gasses his tank. And if you watch Topuria, I mean, his body shots sound like a pistol. What he did to Damon Jackson and Jai Herbert, especially if he gets you up against the cage. I think that's going to be the biggest downfall for Bryce Mitchell in this fight. But I do say it's an advantage for him to get to work in 3 rather than 5, especially considering the fact that, they trained 4 or 5 rounds. Maybe the cardio won't be as big of a factor, but I like Topuria to land some nasty hooks and really subdue the ground game from Bryce Mitchell. But that gets us into this next fight. This is my second favorite fight of the night. We've got the Scouser, the original Scouser, Darren Till, the 10th ranked middleweight, coming in a must-win, an absolute must-win in his career against Dricus du Plessis, the new guy on the block, the new guy in the rankings at middleweight. This guy's a problem from South Africa. He was a KSW champion. He was an ECF champion. He came in with a lot of hype behind him. He's won his first 3 fights with the UFC, 2 by finish, by knockout. Here's the thing. He does have 9 submissions on his resume, and that's what's not going to be talked about. He's a knockout threat, and they're going to hype this up as, Darren Till is going to get a striker. He's got a shot. I do think where Dricus can win is if he grapples, but I don't think he's going to. If you watch his last fight, he put on one of the best, most underrated 3-round fights of the year. A bloody mess with, who was that? Brad Tavares. Yeah, broke his nose. Bad. He should have been grappling with Brad Tavares because he almost lost that fight. So I don't see him doing that with Till, and he's just a little too crazy for a striker as clean as Darren Till. Darren Till has no takedown defense. or submission defense, but what he does have is very clean Thai boxing. And I think he's going to put a 1-2 on Duplessis, and I think he's going to put on an old school performance, catch Duplessis coming in and finish him. I don't see him taking this to the distance. And something I just talked about again in the last fight, Darren Till, this is a real crazy stat. He's only had 1 3-round fight since 2017. Everything else, main event. He's 2-4 in 5-round fights in the UFC, undefeated in 3-round fights. He gets his second 3-round fight since 2017. He'll get to go to work early, and he will get to work early, and he will finish Dricus Du Plessis. Evan, what do you think?
I am a big Darren Till fan. I have always been part of the Darren Hill fan club since, he's been a star in the UFC. And I would love to see him win this fight because he, like you said, he needs this fight. He's lost 4 of his last 5. Given those 4 fights have not been to easy guys. I mean, he lost to Derek Brunson, Robert Whitaker, Jorge Masvidal, and Tyron Woodley.
Yeah.
And that was when Tyron Woodley was
champion prime Tyron
Woodley. That was not the end of career Tyron Woodley. But I am leaning towards Dricus Du Plessis in this fight. I'm hoping that training with Khamzat Chimaev has kind of turned that around for Till and given him the confidence he needs. But coming off, when he put out the statement, like a lot of this was because of his mental health and like how he wasn't feeling well about like himself and where he was fighting. I don't want to say it made me lose confidence in him, but I'm almost feeling bad for him coming into this fight in the sense that like I'm really hoping he can pull it together, but I'm just feeling like this has a standout performance from Du Plessis written all over it. But in that fight with Tavares, I was a little skeptical of the over-aggression of I was like, it kind of reminded me of Chimaev versus Burns in a sense where there was an easier path to victory and he didn't take it. I'm kind of glad he didn't because it gave me a hell of a fight to watch. But when you're trying to fight for wins, especially when you're trying to make your way up that ladder, you gotta do what's easiest for you to win the fight. And I do hope he uses that grappling because he can get Till down. But I don't know. I know Till's training with Chimaev, and Chimaev is some of the best grappling in the world. And if you're gonna train with someone to make that better, Chimaev is a great choice. But I think this is going to be a fun fight. I don't think it goes to the distance. I don't know how Du Plessis is going to finish this, but I think at some point he's going to drain Till with either striking or grappling, and I think eventually he'll get the finish in this fight.
One reason I think we might see Du Plessis fight smart in this. Du Plessis is someone I highlighted in an article about guys with 100% finish rates. He actually shared the article and said, "I don't let the judges do my job for me." So he is a guy that goes out there and looks to finish. I think that's what caught him up in that Tavares fight is he got the first guy he couldn't finish, and he went out for the kill. He didn't get that finish. That finish rate is no longer perfect for him. Maybe we see just a guy looking to win the fight rather than finish the guy in front of him. But either way, definite fight of the night contender. Take us into this next fight.
So our next fight, we've got another one, but that should be a fun fight. We've got Alex Morono filling in for Robbie Lawler, taking on Santiago Ponzinibbio. I'm going with Santiago Ponzinibbio in this fight. This was another close one, though. I've been a part of the Alex Morono train for a little bit on this 4-fight win streak. When he took on Matt Semmelsberger, I know me and Malik went back and forth on that. He really thought I should have gone with Matt Semmelsberger, but I was right. I took Alex Morono. He won the fight. I was very happy with myself, but I'm gonna jump off a little bit here, and I'm gonna go with Ponzinibbio. This reminds me of the fight with Semmelsberger. I think it could be very similar in the sense where these three are just gonna stand for 3 rounds and probably just bang, go to work for 15 minutes. Both of these guys have pretty solid chins, so I wouldn't be surprised if this goes the distance. But what's Ponzinibbio has that Semmelsberger didn't, Semmelsberger would just load up and throw some looping, really powerful shots to shut his lights out. I think Ponzinibbio is going to be more technical. I think he's going to be much faster than Semmelsberger was, which isn't going to give Morono the ability to just kind of move in and out when he wants to, land more shots, kind of just bloody up Ponzinibbio like he did to Semmelsberger. But I think Ponzinibbio is going to kind of do what Morono did to Semmelsberger, moving in and out, landing a lot of fast strikes before comboing with those powerful strikes to look for a finish. But I think this goes all 15 minutes, seeing a Ponzinibbio decision victory.
Listen, I love Pons. I was all ready to pick him over Robbie Lawler, and then I just think the wrong guy took the fight at the right time. I'm going to lean Morono on this one. I think prime Ponzinibbio, win streak 2017, 2018 Ponzinibbio clears Alex Morono all day on the feet. Definitely. But ever since that injury, that 3-year layoff, I think we've seen a slow Ponzinibbio that's not the same guy. He was on a 7-fight win streak before that injury, 1-3 since. The one fight I will say was absolute fight of the year contender with Miguel Baeza. But I just think Morono is going to fight a little smart on that. I don't think he's going to give Ponzinibbio the brawl that he wants. I think Morono will show a takedown or two when needed and probably grind out a 29-28 decision. But I'll be honest, I don't have much for this fight as it is a late replacement. I just don't think Ponzinibbio is going to beat a guy. Morono's on a 4-fight win streak, and the one loss before that was a very, very close fight with Showtime Pettis that absolutely no one really counted Morono into that fight, and Morono was winning a good chunk of the beginning of that fight until Showtime started doing Showtime's things, landed some spinning kicks and all that. But seriously, the guy's turned his career around. I think this will be another big name on his resume. But that takes us into Paddy the Baddy. This might be on the other side of the world. We set our favorite fights. There's a whole section of the world. This is the only fight they're paying this $70 pay-per-view for. And they're going to pay that $70, and that's going to be a $70 minute or two they're going to get. I think Paddy the Baddy submits Jared Gordon quickly. No disrespect. I'm going to get right into this one. He promised another first-round finish. When Paddy promises something, he's made it happen so far in the UFC. I do think, to all the detractors that watch, Paddy Pimblett has that Floyd Mayweather, like personality where half of the people are watching just to see him lose. I do think your time will come. I think it's unrealistic to think Paddy Pimblett will go untouched through the ranks at 55 all the way up to a belt, as much as Dana would love that. I just don't think Jared Gordon is that guy. Jared Gordon's a grinder. He's mediocre everywhere. His last loss was a submission. I think that will happen again. It was the only time he's been submitted in his UFC career, but the other two guys that fought him that were submission threats knocked him out. Charles Oliveira and Diego Ferreira both knocked him out. So maybe if he's in there prepared for a submission, Paddy throws another jumping switch knee and knocks him out. But I do think Paddy comes through on the first round finish that he's promised the world. And then probably has a lot of mean things to say about Ariel Helwani on the mic. And that's what I'm going to be really looking forward to. Love them both, but I love a little juice too, Evan. Who do you see in this one?
I got to agree with you here. I got to go with Paddy Pimblett. I think this is, when you've got someone that you're promoting to be face of your company like Paddy Pimblett, you really go into the matchmaking and you try and pick a good opponent for him. Jared Gordon has a name. He's not the most recognizable, but I know who. I didn't have to do a ton of Jared Gordon research before writing about this. And Paddy Pimblett should win this fight kind of how he wants to. Jared Gordon showed that he in his fight against who did he get submitted by? Shoot. Do you
Grant Dawson.
Grant Dawson, yeah. Grant Dawson. He showed that he was able to be submitted by Grant Dawson, and it was by a rear naked choke, which is Paddy Pimblett's number one submission. I went on Tapology and looked. You've got 2 straight rear naked choke submission wins for Paddy Pimblett and a rear naked choke loss for Jared Gordon. It's set up for this to be Paddy Pimblett finds his way, gets that rear naked choke submission, looks like the face of the division in the future. I got to agree. I like Paddy Pimblett. Paddy Pimblett. I don't love Paddy Pimblett. I think he's got good skill, but I don't think he's going to go untouched. When I think about him going against someone like Charles Oliveira or Islam Makhachev, I think that's unrealistic right now to see him winning those fights because he fought Jordan Levitt and he didn't get him out in the first round. And Jordan Levitt I mean, there were people who thought Jordan Levitt won that first round just from control, and like you could make the argument for that. I mean, if you're losing a round to Jordan Levitt, you're probably not beating Charles Oliveira right now. So I don't think the expectation. I think these odds are very fair at minus 250. I thought when I saw this, I was like, all right, Pim, it's going to be a minus 400. Stay away from it. But like minus 250, I think that's honestly pretty solid value coming into this fight. But I do think he'll get the crowd going. I wouldn't be surprised to see Dave Portnoy down there in the camera in the front row.
Yeah, they need redemption. They had to watch Molly get
wow, that was a beatdown. Yeah.
strangled.
But moving into our main event, a little bit of a disappointment here. I was really hoping that we would get to see Yuri Prochazka take on Glover Teixeira in what could be the fight of the year, get the rematch of that. But instead, we have a fight that we thought would be coming soon, but not this soon. We've got Jan Blachowicz and Magomed Ankalaev for the light heavyweight championship. I'm going to go with Magomed Ankalaev. He's over a 3-1 favorite coming into this. He's next in line in that Dagestani group, like Islam Makhachev and Habib's group of guys. I don't think he's the best one. I definitely think he's beatable. He lost to Paul Craig with 1 second left. I know he's not undefeated and he has that one loss, but I definitely think he's beatable, but I think Jan is a good matchup for him in the sense where when Jan got put on his back by Glover Teixeira, he looked helpless. He didn't know what he was doing. And when you have Magomed Ankalaev on you, who's probably trained day in and day out on top of people, that's not good. I don't think Magomed Ankalaev is as much of a submission threat as Glover Teixeira was to him. I honestly wouldn't be surprised if this fight is kind of boring, where Ankalaev gets him down and just punishes him for like 5 rounds and wins this like 50-44 and wins the unanimous decision, becomes the new champion. I kind of see it going that way. I could see him getting it to the point where Blachowicz is just so tired that he can't defend himself, though. I think this is going to be a 4th or 5th round TKO in favor of Ankalaev, but I'd love to hear what you have to say here.
Yeah, I actually am pretty much right on the money with you. I think old Ankalaev is going to hold on to Yuri's belt for a year or so until he comes back and gets rightfully what is his. But for the same reasons you said, Jan Blachowicz struggles with good top control. I do think Jan is a very, very solid fighter. That's his kryptonite. Unfortunately, it looked like in his last fight with Rakic on top of him, it wasn't going to go anywhere. With Glover on top of him, it didn't go anywhere. Formerly in his career, Corey Anderson, guys like that get on top of him, doesn't go anywhere. You're also, unfortunately, this fight will probably be boring because Ankalaev, you were respected, but he's not a submission threat. He has no submissions in his career, and his top control is nothing but control. It's just control. He doesn't really even beat your face in. I wrote this down. He had 6 minutes and 42 seconds of control against Paul Craig. He had 6 minutes of control against Krylov. He didn't finish either of them. Now, is he going to dominate and is he going to win? Yes. But he's just for me, Ankalaev's at a point in your career. Well, be the finisher that you used to look like. He got all this hype in this highlight reel, knocking out Dolce Lungiambula, knocking out Iwan Kutalaba. You're at the top now. We want to see you knock these guys out because you fight a Thiago Santos, you don't knock him out. Then the guy behind you, Jamal Hill, does. There's a guy in this division, Jamal Hill, who's knocking out these guys' scraps. Where's his title shot? That's all. I just want to see Ankalaev put on a show for once, and I don't think he will. I don't think Blachowicz is the guy to do that to on the feet. Really, I think Blachowicz is nice on the feet. I think this fight will be competitive on the feet. I really don't think Ankalaev is as good of a striker as he gets credit for. I think he has knockout power and some highlight reel punches. But in that fight I just mentioned with Nikita Krylov, he was being outstruck. That's why you see that ground control. So I don't think he will hold on to this belt long. I do think Yuri will come back and put him out, or even a guy like Jamal Hill can step in there. I think this is a really unfortunate, main event and title fight. To be completely honest about it, I don't mean to drag this card. I really think this is a fun card. But nobody wants this. We wanted to see Yuri and Glover, and then if Ankalaev knocks out Jan, not in a title fight, then you get your title shot the right way, which is probably how he would have wanted it. I also would have liked to see Glover maybe take a fight with one of these two for the
I
title.
do I do know that Glover said that he was offered a fight with Ankalaev for this, and he was like, "Oh no, I'm not taking a fight with Ankalaev unless
Yeah,
I have from the camp."
and I can respect that
I
too.
respect that. I honestly don't know. Like after Ankalaev, I think wins this fight. I don't know the severity to a degree of Prochazka's injury. But if they want to keep this division moving, they're probably going to have to throw Glover a title shot with whoever wins this if he wants it, if he wants the title shot. I could see him then being like, all right, yeah, I guess I'll take the camp and fight Ankalaev. That's an interesting fight to think about. But I do think if it is Yuri, I think Yuri will beat Ankalaev in their fight.
Well, UFC doctor said it's the worst shoulder injury he's ever seen, and he expects at least a year. So if I'm Glover Teixeira, I'm getting in camp tomorrow. I'm letting Alex Pereira throw some head kicks at me and seeing how well I can defend him. But that will be our coverage for UFC 282, guys. Make sure to check out the website. I already have an article about the 3 fighters to watch for. We covered 2 of them. Obviously, Dricus du Plessis, always fireworks. Obviously, Patty Pimblett, always fireworks. But my Cincinnati guy, Action Man Chris Curtis, will be on the prelims. Make sure to check that out and then get some action on this, man. Malik will have his picks on the Patreon. Go subscribe to that. Subscribe to the YouTube. Evan will have his whole predictions out tomorrow as well. There's always money to be found in there, too. Peace out, you guys. Thanks for joining us.